Hey, what is going on, ladies and gentlemen? It's your main man, Coach Eric Schwefel, coming at you today, this morning, with a quick video, right, that it's going to help us control a few things that might get out of control every once in a while. So I want to get right into the story. I love this story. It's one of my favorite to tell, and there's a lot of good lessons that can come out of it, right? So imagine that young kid in your class back in school, maybe second or third grade, that was always the troublemaker. You know, they would get the detention, they might hit other kids, they were the rebel in the class, they got bad grades, they always had the crazy bad attitude, whatever it was, they always were that troublemaker, right? Imagine that kid who was always angry, and he kept going home day after day after day with the pink slip, the detention, whatever it might have been, and just was completely frustrated with school. What do you think his parents were thinking? They were frustrated. What could they do to help their child succeed, especially in school? Because they did parent-teacher conferences, they did all these different sorts of things. Well, finally one day, the young boy, he came home, and his dad told him, he said, "Son, I have an idea." So they went outside, and he says, "Every time that you get angry, what I want you to do is grab a nail from this box, and I want you to grab this hammer, and I want you to hammer this nail into the fence just like this." And he showed him, pop, 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 pop. And then he did it. And he says, "Okay, Dad, but why am I going to do this?" He says, "Son, I just want you to do this." So he said, "Okay." So what he did is he gave his son a notebook, and every time that he would get angry at school, instead of acting out, right, now that he knew he was going to be nailing the hammer into the fence, he would write down a little tally mark in his book. And you should have seen this kid every single day. He did it. The first day he came back and he said, "Dad, I wrote down all the tally marks like you told me to." And he said, "Great, son, now go nail them into the fence. How many nails do you have to nail into the fence?" And he said, 37, with a big old smile on his face. 37 nails. So the kid did exactly that. He got his hammer and just imagined, I have it. And he ended up nailing 37 nails into the fence. And he went and told his dad, and he said, "Dad, I nailed all 37 into the fence." And he said, "Great, son, keep it up." So the next day he did this, and the next day, and the next day. And as the weeks went on, the number of nails that were being hammered into the fence grew fewer and fewer and fewer, all the way to the point where the boy didn't nail any nails into the fence. He didn't nail anything to the fence. And he went to his dad, and he told him, he said, "Dad, I didn't want to nail anything into the fence today." He said, "Great, son, now what I want you to do, instead of writing down how many times you were angry, I want you to write down how many times you controlled your temper." So it took the boy a few weeks to get all the nails into the fence. It took him even longer to get all the nails out of the fence. And when he finally did, it was a great accomplishment, and he went and he told his dad. And when he did that, the dad said, "Awesome, son." And he grabbed his son's hands, and they went outside, and he says, "Tell me what you see here." So the son looks, and he says, "Well, Dad, I see a box of bent nails, I see the hammer, and I see a fence with a lot of holes in it." And he says, "Correct, son." He says, "Correct." He says, "Every time you get angry, you see, what we did is we represented that anger with the nail and hammer, and we placed that into the fence, right? Those nails represents the words that you say when you're angry to somebody." And he said, "You see, son, afterwards what we did is we took all of the nails out of the fence, and your apology represents taking the nail out of the fence," he said. He says, "But what do you still see?" He says, "Dad, I still see holes." He says, "Right, no matter what word you say when you're angry, if you apologize afterwards, right, there's still that hurt and there's still that hole that's left in the other person." And he said, "You see, son, words can hurt, and words can leave holes within us and within others. So we've got to be very mindful about what we say to other people when we're angry, especially when we get lost in our emotions." "Well, it can be very hard to do that, Dad." He says, "Right, that's why we had the practice of hammering those nails into the fence." And the son, he kind of smiled because he had learned his dad's lesson, and he was just elated, right? That's how we feel whenever we have that aha moment. So how can we apply this into our own lives, right? Well, not only, right, is that a great story to tell young kids, and not only is that a great story for us, we as adults, right, and we who are older and those that are watching this, it's a great reminder to be mindful of our emotions, especially when we're angry or we're upset or anything, but also think of how our emotions affect us in our daily lives, right? Especially with food and with fitness. How many times have you let your emotions stop you from going into the gym and exercising? How many times have you let your emotions allow you to cope in a way that you may not have been too proud of afterwards, right? You were so sad that ice cream was just the only thing that would satisfy that sadness that you felt, right? Or it's been a long, stressful day, and at the end of the day, I mean, why would I want to eat healthy? After all that stress, I deserve to have that food that's there, man. I mean, like, can you believe the day that I've had? I need to have this food in front of me. Or maybe it was, today's just been so hectic, there's no way that I'm going to be able to make it to the gym. I've got to do this, this, and this, and this before I actually make it there. Whatever that excuse is, emotions can get in the way and cause us, right, to veer off the path that we've set forth. So the way that we can control our emotions is not through, like, I wouldn't say discipline as much as I would want to say discipline, but it's through awareness. It's through mindfulness, and it's through noticing what's happening, right? It's about slowing down, taking a step back, and realizing what is going on, and then acting accordingly when that's happening. So what are some of the ways that you can step back and you can really examine your emotions, right? The first one is being present, being here. How many times are we on our phone all day long? God, for me, man, I feel like I get lost on my phone all the time. 5 minutes of on social media turns into 15, right? So be present in your surroundings. I have them written down on the board. What's the next one? Is focus on right now. We get overwhelmed. There's so many things happening in life. We get bombarded with people's stories. You get bombarded with stories and motivation that's just like this. And it can be so overwhelming and stressful. Focus on what you have in front of you, right? Touch, right? Feel what's going on in your life and bring yourself back to this moment. Be where your feet are. Of course, if you haven't already, exercise. Exercise. Get moving. When you actually get moving, blood starts flowing. It causes you to be where you're at. It causes you to be where your feet are when you move, when you exercise. Why? Because how the hell can I think of taxes or whatever is bothering me when there's something stressful, right, on my body happening right now? It causes you to focus. And the next two are very simple. They are to eat nutritious food, and to eat that nutritious food slowly and mindfully. Taste what your food tastes like, right? Notice what your food tastes like. And the last one, of course, is to be grateful. If you don't know what to be grateful for, if you're watching this right now, you have some type of screen in front of you, whether it's a cell phone or whether it's your desktop or you're watching it on TV. If you're watching this, then you have eyes, right? You have ears if you're listening, right? From there, you probably have a cell phone plan, right? Cellular data. You have the cell phone. There are so many things to be grateful for in life. It just takes a moment to step back and be grateful for them. So y'all remember, mindfulness and awareness is going to help you realize what's going on in your head. And then from there, it allows you to make the decision in order to become the best version of yourself, which allows other people to become the best versions of themselves, right? It's like when we show up as our best selves, we give other people permission to show up as their best selves too. Isn't that crazy? Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this. Everybody that's watching, thank you so much. If you got something out of this, let me know below what you did get out of it. And if you feel in your heart, share this thing out, right? Have a great day. I love you. You're unstoppable. And as you go out through the day, remember just one thing. Give maximum effort. I'll talk to you later. Peace.